All right. Welcome to Get Connected, our first virtual Get Connected, everyone. We're happy to be here today. So, what are we talking about? Well, QBOA year ends is on the docket today, and really it is books to tax faster than ever. We'll be going over work papers, Protacs, and all the like. So let's get to it. My name is James Astor. I'm a product manager for QBOA and work papers more specifically.
And my name is Michael Nicky, and I'm the product manager for Protacs. And thank you all for joining us. We're super excited to be here with you virtually and in spirit.
That's right. Don't forget, CPD credits for those who need them are available. All right, so what are we going to cover today? Today we're going to talk about a big books to tax year-end ecosystem, primarily the work papers feature and then right into Protacs. So we're going to talk really high level about stuff. We're going to go through it pretty quickly with the understanding that we're going to give you all of this stuff up front, and then we're going to jump right into a live demo. We'll also show you a new feature that we're working on coming up, and then Mike's going to close off. Okay, so what we hear from the community is a lot of things. I gotta say, we're probably a very customer-centric company. And I can say that I've been at a number of companies, and I think I've been here for about 1.5 years, Mike just over 2. And easily this is the most customer-centric company we've ever been a part of, like up in orders of magnitude. And the nice thing about that is that we really get to work with our community very often. We've been hearing everything from our accountants and our bookkeepers that truly there is some things missing, but if you could nail those, it would make a huge impact to the accounting community. And so over the years, we've distilled these down into a couple big themes. One is that as an accounting professional, you really need reliability. This is your work tool, and so we hear you. You need to be always on, always available, and especially when we're talking cloud, it's got to be available to you all the time. We need completeness, James, which there's a lot of functionality, and a lot of people do things at the year end or during the year that are different, but you need the right tools at the right moment to make your workflow work. And then efficiency is probably the biggest one that we keep hearing. How can we make this really, really like fast and easy so that you're efficient to do the nitty-gritty work and you free up all the time to do all the rest of your work? Not to mention the upcoming advisory shift that's really started to take the world by storm. So when we put it in those sort of big theme buckets, we really try and narrow down, okay, look, we got to get rid of all that manual re-entry, import, export, the constant app switching back and forth. All of that just sucks away time. It doesn't really add value. It doesn't feel like you're getting work done. It's just like part of the process that you kind of don't look forward to. It'd be nice if you just could get the work done and then move on. And so that's really part of our guiding light. First off, we're going to dive right into the overview of work papers. And again, we're going to get into live demos with all this, so don't worry if you didn't catch the screenshots. But this is going to be just a quick overview of what you can expect from a year-end engagement concept here. So first things first. Jumping into the review and adjust area within work papers allows you to sort of view your trial balance. You can see all your balance sheet items, all of your profit and loss or income statement items. You can add quick adjustments that you need to be made. Things aren't in the right spot. You can review year over year items. It's really flexible, so you can add notes. Of course, you can add attachments here. And when you're good with that account, there's even a reviewer flag. So you just check it off and keep moving on. Then the second spot, we've got this grouping and statements area. This will allow you to sort of start preparing for your financial statements. Now, this was initially conceived because we needed a lead sheets offering. And lead sheets allows for that index to occur so that you can make sure everything is sorted and categorized and organized in a fashion that you're happy with. But in doing so, we ended up creating this really unique grouping area that allows for you to basically have financial statements just like you like. And I'm going to get into that more in the demo. Then, of course, we've got tax mapping. So probably the most used portion of this is, hey, I need to attach Giphy codes to all my accounts. And I don't want to have to do it year over year. This is the perfect spot that allows for that. And I'm happy to announce, I've saved this until the end, this engagement document manager. And I'm going to get into this. It's really exciting. It just launched last week, and we think you're going to be really excited about this.
Awesome. So once your books are all in order and it's time to get started with the tax return, Protacs is right there built into the same ecosystem as Workpapers. And what that means is you can easily pull data out of your books and directly into tax. No more dealing with thumb drives, no more pointing to files on servers or sharing information through email, which is insecure. Protacs will pull data straight from Workpapers and into your corporate tax return. If you're not a Workpapers user, no problem. You can import Giphy files from external software. And when you get your data into Protacs when you're creating a return, Protacs will give you a nice little preview of that so you can have confidence that the data that you're using to prepare your return is correct and optimized. And once you start getting into the tax preparation piece of it, Protacs has got your back covered too, because our calculations are powered by the Profile Tax Engine. It's 18 years in market, super reliable, rock solid calculations. We also have the Auditor, which is powered by Profile. What this will do is it'll guide you to e-file by flagging all of the issues in your tax return. Super helpful because then you can make sure you've really dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's. And guess what? If you're getting started, you can import files from your current tax software directly into Protacs. We'll show you a bit of that in the demo as well. And guess what? For those of you who are new to Protacs, we have one of the slickest ways to get started, because in Protacs, you don't need to learn menus or shortcuts. We have something called the quick bar. And what that is sort of a search bar for any action, anything you want to do, add a form, navigate to a form, e-file, print, share that return. You can do it all right there. One easy shortcut to learn, and then just type what you want to do, and it'll do it for you. No more learning menus, and no more fumbling around with menus as you're trying to prepare a return. It's all in one place for you. And just recently released, we are super excited to give you something you've been asking for a while, is more powerful print options. So we'll show you that in the demo as well. But right now we've got some awesome print templates for you for printing your returns for different purposes. Now you can select which forms, the order of those forms, use our pre-created templates for CRA, client, or office copies, or you can adjust them on the fly on your own. I can't wait to show you that in the demo. And when you're ready to e-file, we've got your back too in Protacs, because right before you e-file, Protacs is going to generate a little summary for you and a full form preview. So once again, you've got full confidence in what you're sending to the CRA on behalf of your clients. Oops. And with that, I'll throw to James to get us started with the live demo.
All right, now for some fun stuff. Just going to share my screen with everyone. switch on over to work papers. So today we're in Harton Hardware. That's one of our clients. And of course, you can always find work papers if you've never used it before using the accountant tools. So as soon as you end up finding or using you access your client, just jump right into work papers using the accountant tools. You'll notice that there's 4 key areas, and I just talked about them briefly, but now to go through them in a little bit more detail. This new documents area is pretty amazing. It's provided with account folders that mimics your chart of accounts. So you don't need to keep a running list of all of your account folders. We do it for you. So you notice there's some test data in here that I've sort of pre-populated. And it's really easy to add files. Of course, just click Add, open up a file, and then add it. And you can see that there. Pretty easy to add files, but we've made it a lot better. And I'm going to show you using the general section. So the general area allows for you to create your own folder structure. It's completely customizable. So I've already created 2 folders here, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new one called, let's just for simplicity, call it tax. So we've got this new folder. Now it's called tax. And if I want to add a subfolder, because I know I'm already going to do that, let's do that. I'll just, for simplicity, call it subtax. So now we're starting to build a folder structure that is all here. And like I said, it's easy to go ahead and add files, but we've made it quite a bit better. I'm going to swap over to my Finder window, which is just your computer. Now, dragging and dropping in here would be great. And it is great because we made it happen. But what really makes this powerful is what if I wanted to do all of these at once and drop them in? I can do that simultaneously and without any issue. It's super fast. If I scroll down and let's say I wanted to move this one into this folder, just drag and drop it. It's super easy to now manage all of your files across your entire engagement. It could be client communications that you want to plop in here. It could be old tax files. It could be, rental agreements, whatever it is that might not necessarily flow up to an account related document. Just make a folder and put it in here. For many of the people who we've been speaking to while building this product, this is actually going to replace their cloud storage provider like Google Drive or Dropbox. Because although those platforms are great and they work well, you need to now maintain them. They're not in the ecosystem and they're not contextualized. But what do I mean by that? So what the thing is that you want all your files to be in the actual spot and always organized and kept up to date. So you'll notice that all these files now are contextualized by the tax year and of course by the client. So all of that organization is always taken care of for you. And if you're already in QBO working on your client's file, it's nice to have all the files there as well. If you need to rename a file, you can do that too. Just rename the file, press enter. You can do this all within the browser, and we've made it really easy to use. If there's files up in the general area that you decide you want to put into an account folder, no problem, just drag and drop. This is actually quite flexible. And a lot of people might say, oh, you know what? Well, maybe I need to download them. How do I do that? Well, of course, you can download them here, but you can also download entire folders at once by clicking on the download folder. Now, what if you want all of the files? Well, we'll get to that later, but effectively, it's in the download to zip button. And I'll talk about that at the end. So this marks a real entry into file management within your year end. This is just a start. We have a lot of cool stuff on the way. So off to review and adjust. In this area, you'll notice that you can review your trial balance. You can see all of your accounts all in one look, a year over year change, the dollar change, and any adjusting entries that you've made. And You can, of course, add a file directly here if you're in this flow, or just go ahead and add a note, such as need bank statement. Maybe it's a reminder for you or a colleague who's working with you. And then you'll notice that a note is popped up here. When the numbers look good and everything's been checked off in your mind, you can check it off digitally and click at Mark as Reviewed. You can do that all the way along and for all of the groupings, including all of your headings, such as like current assets or your income or liabilities, whatever it is. This is a great way to have a nice dashboard instead of having to go to reports, pull up a static page, and having to dig in, because you can dig in right from here. So once all this is done, you can get a great Excel printout from here that summarizes all of the reviewed, checked off items, all of your notes, and all of the attachment titles, so that you can have a great index file for all of your work that you've done in Review and Adjust. Just one more thing to make sure that you're covered from an archival perspective, if that's what you desire. Off to grouping and statements. So the numbers look good, the notes have been made, supporting documentation is there. Now what? Okay, we need to prep for financial statements. This grouping and statements functionality allows you to basically drag and drop all of your accounts into whatever buckets you prefer. So if you want your financial statements to have cash up here and other, and you've got a few accounts that needed to be grouped in order to simplify your financial statements, it's no problem. Drag and drop. So now, rather than, again, going to reports and having to be locked in with however the reports module is formatted, you can format it however you like. So now you've got a balance sheet, assets, current assets, and then just all of your accounts are now into groups however you like them. And you can do that all the way along for your balance sheet and, of course, your income statement. Now, I'll just show you for simplicity how easy it is to create a new group. Let's call it miscellaneous for simplicity, and I'll just give it a reference code of K. We've created this new miscellaneous folder, which makes it really easy to, again, just drag and drop into a new folder. The nice thing about this is that it's carried over from year over year. So all of this work is saved. You do this one time and it's done. That really saves time on subsequent years, and all of the work is then easy to optimize for. Now, it's one thing doing it in here, but James, where are my financial statements? Well, if I export this, I'm going to get a really nice Excel document that's going to allow me to customize it to however I like, without having to go in and do all that work from scratch. A cover page with whatever your logo is, an NTR with the stock text that's there, a balance sheet that's now created, and you'll notice all of the accounts are there, but we wanted to minimize those. And so there, just by using the toggles on the left and right, you can actually see the detailed portion or the collapsed view here. This is a great simplified balance sheet now that can be sent directly to your client. Same goes with your income statement. And here we have a lead sheet schedule. And of course, when you fill in all of the reference codes for all of your accounts, they'll populate here. And this is a great way to keep everything online and ready to go. I'm going to swap back over to the browser and bring us over to tax mapping. So tax mapping, again, is an easy way to attribute your accounts to the Giphy codes. And for those who, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Giphy codes are at this point, but again, it's a coding structure that allows you to import into just about any tax product in Canada. It looks like there's two new unmapped accounts that haven't got the proper association with the Giphy code. I'll just type in machinery and equipment, and it pops up here and tells me what they were or what those Giphy codes could be. Click that, click save, and it's done. Yet again, all of this is saved year over year. You do this one time and it's done. The first year, in fact, we try and automate as much as we can. So it's worthwhile to go in, review it to your liking, and then again, it saves your preferences year over year. Now, there's a few last features I want to really point out before I hand it off to Mike. We have the unlock and the download to zip. The lock functionality is very similar to the close the books functionality you can find in the advanced settings. For those of you who don't know, close the books prevents unwanted transactions by putting up a pop-up during a time period where you shouldn't be adding more expenses. For instance, I'm an accountant, I've already filed the taxes, but lo and behold, my client found an Amazon expense that they wanted to enter into last year's data just to make things look good. However, if they do that, it's going to mess things up. So of course, I want to lock or close that as of the year end. So in this case, it's the end of December. So I'll lock it as of December 31st, and I can show them a warning or a warning plus they need to enter a password in order to accept that transaction into the prior year. It's a great way, I'll click cancel for now. It's a great way to reduce any unwanted transactions. And if a client sees that with a password, they're more obliged to then come to you and get help. Last but not least, this download to zip functionality will download all of the files associated that you've uploaded here, all the supporting documents. It takes all of the Excel exports from each of these tabs, so all of your work is included, including the Giphy mapping export, and it zips it up into a single file that is that you can use to either archive or share with someone who doesn't necessarily have access to this. And therein concludes the work papers portion of your year end. Of course, it's time to start T2 directly with Protacs, and it's all within the ecosystem. I'm going to swap back to Mike, and you can take it from there.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Absolutely amazing to see what the team's done with the product in such a short period of time. So powerful. All right. Okay. So James gave us a good overview of work papers. And, once you've completed your year end in work papers, mapped your Giphies, you're ready to get started in Protacs. Now, James showed you one entry point into Protacs quickly with the Start T2 return, but I'm going to show you the more typical way of starting a tax return, and that's by going into Protacs. That's by going into Protacs and getting started in the return space. So if I'm getting started with Protacs, first thing to note is that we offer both corporate and personal tax returns. So if you're working, like a lot of you perform both corporate and personal tax. Just because we're built into QuickBooks doesn't mean that we don't support personal tax as well. We've got both. Now, when you enter Protacs, the first thing you're going to see is this list of your tax returns. What a lot of our users call this is the dashboard. And that's because it's an awesome way to get started and organize your workday, or your work week, or help your firm get set up for success for that peak tax season. Because here what I can do is I can find all of my returns by client. I can search for them by tax year. In T2, we support all the way back to 2015. Or, and most importantly, I can find which returns need my attention. So I can see which ones are finished, which ones are in progress, not accepted, and I can organize what the most important work I need to do for my day is. So a very handy place to get started. In the return list itself, you've got a bunch of sorting and filtering options, and you can do all the things you'd expect. So you can open up the return, you can carry forward from a previous year so that you have that data available for reference within your tax return, or you can copy a tax return. Maybe you want to run some scenarios and make a couple changes. All of that can be done from here. And for those of you who are getting started in Protacs, we also offer imports from external tax software. So this is super slick because it's not just one file at a time. You can upload up to 50 files at a time, making onboarding onto Protacs and super easy, and lets you get started with all of the data for your clients, no matter where they come from. Now, I won't show you this, but it's super slick and it's done in 3 easy steps. First, you upload your returns. So you can upload them. Once they've uploaded, you can leave, they'll be processed. You can actually leave the computer and you'll get an email once they're ready for you. Next, you match them to your QBO clients, and then you simply import the return. So it's a super slick, super easy way to get started with Protacs. Couple things to note in this page before I move on. We've got the feedback button here, so please use that. We want to hear from you. Like James said, we're customer obsessed here, not in a creepy way, but we want your feedback. We want to work with you to create this product. We want to make sure it works the way you need it to work. We've got what's new right here. This is where all of our release notes are, and this product changes fast. As you can see, we just released a few new features a couple days ago, and we release very regularly. So check that out. Keep your eye on that so you can make use of the latest and greatest. And then there's tax settings. Here you can store your e-file number and password for quick access later on within the tax return. So today I'm going to just run you through how to create a new corporate tax return. I'll get started here. Clicking create new tax return, and this screen pops up. First thing I want to do is I want to select a client. So James just finished off the books for Harton hardware, and so I'll do that. One thing to note here is you can add a new, you can select an existing client or add a new unsubscribed QBO client. So maybe some of your tax clients, especially on the T1 side, aren't on QBO yet. That's fine. You can still use them to create tax returns, and it's super fast and super simple. You just put in their name and email address, and you're ready to go. But we'll go with Harton hardware today. So I've selected Harton hardware, and now Protacs is pulling in all of that data from work papers. So we've got the full trial balance summary right here in front of us. This is one of the great advantages of being built onto the same platform, onto the same ecosystem. Yes, you have one place to do everything. It feels the same. It's easy to learn because you know how to use QuickBooks, but also the data flows from one place to another, saving you tons of time. Again, you're not tossing thumb drives around. You're not pointing to locations on servers. It's all right here. So once you've got that set up, you can review your trial balance. If you're happy with it, you can go ahead and hit continue return, or you can go back to work papers and make an adjustment. It's a click of a button. And by the way, if you're not using work papers, that's cool too. You can upload a Giphy file from another software package or just simply start a blank return. There's also other ways to pull data into Protacs. We've got CRA autofill my return for both corporate and personal tax. And like I showed you earlier, we do have imports from other tax softwares as well. So lots of great ways to get your data into Protacs. All right, so I've taken a look here. This all looks awesome. Great work on the books, James. I'm going to hit continue. And now we're going to get started with preparing the tax return for Harton's hardware. What Protacs is doing right now is it's actually pulling in all of that data from work papers, and it's populating it into your S100 and S125 forms and just building out your most basic corporate tax return for you to get started. So this is really cool. I can do all my editing right here. But, a lot of us, we're familiar, not with this view, but we're familiar with the PDF view. The actual government forms view of a tax return. So what you can do is you can toggle between the data input view here and take a look at your actual paper form as it would look on paper. So this is going to really give you that confidence that the data you're sending to the CRA and while you're preparing your tax return is actually what you want it to look like and what is going to the places you expect. So once I've completed getting my data in and I'm happy with my tax preparation, I can go to the auditor. So the auditor is awesome because it actually guides you to e-file by flagging all of the issues with the return that are going to block you from e-filing and even giving you some warnings. So things that may not be, they're not going to block you from e-filing, but hey, our tax engine has picked up that there might be an issue here and you should take a look at it. And by the way, this is the same tax engine as Profile, 18 years in market, super reliable calculations. Clicking on one of these issues is going to take me to the actual offending field, and it's going to give me a little tip on how I can fix that. So right here, I've got a tip. I'm going to change that. And I can see this little number down here, it goes down. It was 35 and now it's 34. Some of our users actually treat this kind of like a game. They kind of want to get that number as low as possible, as fast as possible. So it's a little fun for them. Now, one thing to note here is that you may not always agree with our tax engine because you're the expert and you know your customer situation, your client situation really well. So we've also given you the ability to sign off on these warnings and issues. You just simply click on this green button. And this is great because you can actually see everything you've signed off on here. So you can keep track of that and revisit it later if you want. Or if you're in your firm, you've got a situation where you have a tax preparer and a reviewer, your reviewer can come in and take a look and see what you've signed off on. So it's super handy for also working remotely. Now, if you're running into issues with Protacs, we've actually got a lot of help options for you as well. So here, clicking on the Protacs help button, you've got so many options available to you. You can connect with our user community on Facebook to get peer help. You can send us an email. You can visit our help hub online where you get all sorts of documents and resources. You can chat with a support agent, or just recently launched a couple days back is our phone channel. So a lot of you have been asking for this. Now you can actually speak to a live agent about Protacs. And this is super slick here. Actually, you can see the phone number. You can type it into your phone, but clicking on this will actually connect you via FaceTime if you're on a Mac or whatever voice over IP software you're using. So, getting the help you need faster and easier than ever. Awesome. So if I'm done this return, I might want to do a couple things. I might want to maybe share it with a colleague for review or print it. And you can find all of that stuff here in the menu. We've got another menu here. It's pretty easy, but we also have another way to access all this stuff. It's this search bar here that we call the quick bar. So I can hit Command Option S, or I can click on it. And really what this is similar to shortcuts to the profile users out there. Or if you're used to other software, this is more like an action launcher or navigational search. What does all that stuff mean? Well, what that means is you can do anything here. You don't need to learn the menus when you're getting started because everything can be accessed from here. You can navigate returns, navigate forms, add forms to your tax return, or launch any action. I'll hit S, and anything with an S appears in this search. All right, cool. So maybe I want to share this return. Here we go. It launches the hyperlink. I can copy that, and now I can paste that into any software I'm using. If you're using some sort of a work management software, you want to reference the return directly. You're not pointing to a location on a server or attaching sensitive data to emails. You can simply send a secure link via email, via whatever you like, to your colleagues and say, hey, James, I'm done the return. Can you review it for me? James clicks here. It takes him directly to the return. As long as he's got access to your firm and he's logged into QuickBooks, it's a seamless process, super handy. Other cool thing is print. So a lot of you have been asking for more advanced print functionality. I'm so excited to tell you that we are moving down that road as of a couple days ago. we launched print templates in Protacs. Super handy here. You can select from one of 6 preset templates, CRA, office, or client, for either federal or Alberta returns. If you're happy with our presets, that's fine. If you're not, you can actually go right in here and you can start to change them around. So you can reorder them. You can select which ones you want printed and which ones you don't. You can show filters to just show the forms that you will be printing. Search for more forms. Super powerful, super powerful feature. And when you're happy with that, you can now enter a password if you want to put some security on these returns when you share them out. I'll put a password in here. That's not my usual password. Don't use that password. And I will hit print. And now Protacs is going to be generating PDF copies of these returns for me. 1 PDF per return on the bottom here. And now I can open these up or send them to my client. Put in my ultra secure password. And there we have it. Super fast. But it's important to note that this is only the beginning of print. Pretty soon we'll be following up on print with another upgrade to let you create unlimited customized print templates to make sure that you're able to print the way you want and that you've got unlimited flexibility for your firm. Awesome. Okay, so we've gone through, we've printed the return, we've had it reviewed, we've shared it with our colleagues, we've prepared it. Now it's time to e-file. So right before e-file, what Protacs does is it actually generates a summary of your tax return right here, giving you a view of all of the key numbers. And it generates a full PDF preview of that return here. So you can review all of this at a glance before sending to the CRA, giving you that last little piece of confidence that what you're sending is the best tax return you can provide to your customers. Now, I won't be fully preparing this return, so we won't go ahead and e-file, but that is the end-to-end flow of how you can prepare the books, create your trial balance, make reviews and adjustments, map your GIFIs, create a corporate tax return, and prepare it all in one place in a super seamless experience. And that concludes the end of our live demo. But if you're interested in hearing more, please do drop by our booth. We're happy to show you anything down there as well. And as promised, we wanted to give you a little sneak peek and a new feature that James and I have been working on that we are super excited about. Client and engagement letters is that feature. And what makes this so special is that this is an ecosystem feature. And I know we've been using that word a lot today. So what does ecosystem actually means? What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to your clients? Well, what that means to us is, yes, it's in one place. Yes, it's the same experience. You don't need to learn 2 ways to make letters. But also, it means that you can access data from both work papers and Protacs in the same place. So this might not be something you're used to doing. But what this allows for is a whole bunch of really incredible advisory opportunities. So imagine if you can take data like your current ratio and your last year's tax owing amount, and you can give your clients a heads up ahead of time that they need to make some changes prior to tax time because they're not going to be able to afford their tax bill. Imagine you're giving them that, you're not giving them that $30,000 year-end surprise at tax time when they can't do anything about it, and you can actually help them months in advance. That's advisory, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. We cannot wait to see what our customers as trusted advisors are going to come up with using this feature, because it's going to open up a whole bunch of new possibilities in the world of advisory. So we're extremely excited about this. And again, come chat. If you're interested in this, if you're interested in getting involved in building this feature and defining what it's going to look like, come see us at the booth. But the booth isn't the only way you can talk to us. We've got our QuickBooks Online Accountant Insiders group where you can get the latest scoop on what we're building and connect with your peers. We've got the feedback buttons that we showed you. And now you've got our emails, so you can talk to James and I directly, and we do want to hear from you. So please reach out to us. We love working closely with you guys. The accountant community has been amazing in helping us build out the best products we can so that you can serve your customers in the best ways possible. So please keep up the engagement. We love hearing from you. And with that, we've concluded our demo, we've concluded our presentation, and now it's time for a little bit of Q&A. And done.